from Inky&Scrappy, sharing with you today a shaped card featuring Lawn Fawn's Den die set. So I actually have had these forever, so I'm playing along with Jordy from Jordy's Cards and her shopping your already had stash that you've never used. So I bought these when they came out with all of the cute bear stamps that I have really yet to use as well. And so I wanted to do a beaver dam / den, I guess. And so I'm making a shaped card with that largest die from that set. And then I also cut it from some Woodgrain Cardstock. And then I'm taking that smallest den die and making a little window in the front of my card. So my little beaver can be on the inside of my card. So that way it brings the inside out and the outside in, so to speak. You know, all the things. And of course, a beaver den isn't going to be round and smooth, so, or dam, I guess, isn't going to be round and smooth. So I needed to make some definite wood grain or wood blocks, pieces, wood logs, out of some of that wood grain cardstock. I ended up using my Tim Holtz die. It's the Bigz from Sizzix. I think it's called wood planks. And so I just took that one, die cut it out a few times. Not really worried about it being the whole thing. I just need pieces of it anyways to fill in my beaver dam. And then I did go with some distress espresso. I think it was the espresso. It's either the espresso or walnut stain distress ink to add some depth and dimension and a little bit more character to the rest of my wood pieces. It kind of makes that wood grain pop a little bit. So I'm just going to take my wood planks here and build my beaver dam. So kind of just following along the dam lines here. I should have probably paid a little bit more attention to those bigger two on the sides, as they are wider than an A2 card base. So envelope wise, I'm going to have to use one that's just a little bit bigger. I'm trying to think what the ones you can get at Walmart that are for, like, I want to say they're invitation envelopes, but they're just a little bit bigger than the A2 size. It'll probably fit in there. That is probably what I will use to mail this one. Or it'll end up in a big envelope with a gift of some sort, you know, because that happens from time to time too. So I'm just trying to cover up all of that back panel piece. I realize I did all the extra. I probably wouldn't have had to, being I was going to cover it up, but I wanted to make sure that if any of it was sticking out, it blended in with my wood grain here. And I'm just using scraps from the scraps to finish up my wood pieces there. So you have the wood planks, but in between the wood planks, when they cut out, they have, you know, still a wood planky look. So I'm just using those to fill in any space that I might need. And yeah, it's just a little bit wider than that card base there. I was like, yeah, I was supposed to pay attention earlier on, and I didn't. So tucking in the sides, that might be that solid cut, because I wanted everything that's hanging out to kind of have that jaggedy tooth look, because the beaver cut it, right? So I will continue to layer all of the things on this one. And so the only beaver dam I've ever actually seen in real life was at my brother and sister-in-law's cabin in Wisconsin. And so I don't know if we saw the beaver last time when we were there. So Pika and I always go out kayaking, and it's a smaller lake, so we can do the whole lake. But yes, we go and we check out the beaver dam every time, because I always want to see the beaver. I don't know if I've ever actually seen the full beaver. Like, we might just see its head pop out and then it'll go back in because it's afraid of us. I was going to use that paper pack, and I decided I didn't want to do anything that was in there. I had thought about doing the wood for the wallpaper or something like that, and then I decided Kate's favorite new color of distress ink is that lumberjack plaid. So we are using the lumberjack to just do some ink blending on the inside. This little beaver's walls are going to be painted red. And then I did the inside log there for the beaver to sit on. And then I'm going to pop my card front onto my card base here. Now, I probably should have lined it up on the front a little bit better because I'm going to have a little piece of white that is going to stick out. When I did my die cutting on it, I couldn't do them both at the same time because it was too thick. And so I was off just a tiny little smidge when I relined my die cut up. So I'm just going to go in and kind of cheat that one just a teeny tiny little bit there. It's not a huge deal. And as you can see my red wall behind it. And then I'm going to bring in that new beaver set from Lawn Fawn. Would You Be Mine? Is that what that one's called? I don't remember off the top of my head, and I don't have it right next to me at the moment. So I'm just going to stamp that, and then I put the little bow right on top. I probably should have masked where the bow was going to go, but you know, I was trying to go quick. So I'm going to do some color blending between purple and blue. So if any of you know Kate, she has some fun dyed hair, and I keep telling her she needs to go back to purple, and it's currently blue. So that's why she gets to be a purple and blue beaver. You know, plus she's Canadian, so it just kind of works. Tongue-in-cheek funny, I guess. She might not find it as hilarious as I find it hilarious. So I'm going in with that dark blue tone and then that mid blue tone, and then I'm going to blend in the purples from the bottom side there and then in the middle, kind of going back and forth, deciding on how much I wanted to have that purple shade to it. I like doing this with hair on mermaids and like the manes of unicorns, where you take two different colors and you kind of blend them together and get that kind of fun look to the, you know, I don't know. It's kind of fun to do. I don't do it too often. And I rarely color my animals non-natural tones. So this one was definitely a fun one to do. I did fussy cut it out. I don't own the coordinating dies. I could have ran it through the Brother Scan-A-Cut, but it was one tiny little image, so it was not too hard to fussy cut out, and then just taking a black pen to go around the outside, so anything that I didn't cut perfectly you can't tell, and then of course a white gel pen just to go in and add a little bit of highlights to give a little bit more definition, and then of course using that Jelly Roll black pen to do the little Kate Beaver's nose. And I probably could have lined it up better in the window, but I liked how it was sitting. And once the card is propped up, it's going to sit in that window a little bit better. I could have probably moved it down just a teeny tiny little bit, but that's all right. So I'm making my colors for my letters on this one. So I came back in with that lumberjack plaid, and then I'm going to come in with prize ribbon. I kind of blend them in the middle, and I didn't get as good of a purple blend in the middle there as I wanted, and so I tried to bring in the Distress Villainous Potion, and it just wasn't laying on top like I wanted it to. So I did end up coming in with the Villainous Potion in Distress Oxide, and of course that lays over the top of that Distress ink super well. And then I'm going to take some of my letter dies and do a custom sentiment for this one. I did add a little bit of water to add a little bit, you know, more interest to my letters there. So I die cut those out, and then I'm just going to line them up. And so I was kind of thinking I was going to do the damn, comma, girl, damn, like, damn, you're old, and yeah, I changed my mind as I was doing it. But to get the comma for any of my die sets, I usually just take a letter that looks like it'll have the look that I'm looking for and just kind of fussy, just hand cut it to make it look like the comma or apostrophe or sometimes a period for whatever I might be doing, or exclamation point, those types of things. So I'm going to glue this down, and I do glue that one down and then I change my mind on it. So you will see me pick that one back up. And I probably should have centered my girl over just a teeny tiny little bit. And so I do have to try to figure out what to do to fix my not quite centered girl. I think it was just that it just looks off to me. I think it was actually fairly centered. But once I added in that comma, it just looked way over to the one side. So I needed to figure out what to do to add to kind of make it a little bit more even. I cut out a bunch because I tried going in with a stamped log and it just didn't look right with the other logs, and yeah, I just couldn't figure it out. So to press those letters down really firmly, I just use my acrylic block. It just kind of smushes them down there good. So I'm just using a super old letter set from Close to My Heart, and this one is probably one of the original ones when they first went to polymer style stamps, and it's kind of getting, shall I say, not great. It's like squishier than it used to be. So I did end up breaking one of my stamps. I just need to remember to be super careful with those older polymer ones that aren't as, because they've developed and gotten better over time. And then because you can see my letters through my hole there, I just came in with the purple and covered the back of them. And yes, see, maybe I could have added another little beaver on the front in natural tones. Call it me, because I don't have color hair. But I did just end up going in with some jelly hearts. I decided on the little black jelly hearts. It kind of pulls in that little bit of a black from the beaver's outline. And I will just pick 3, kind of scatter them about, making sure that that largest one is where I kind of needed to even out my sentiment there. And I'm just using if you do the dots, like the diamond dots, I just use the trace for those. And there is my finished card. Damn girl, you old. So I hope you enjoyed. It was super fun to make. I was happy with it. Thanks so much. Bye.